Hello all, welcome back to BA Creative. So it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and I couldn't sleep, so I decided that I wanted to play around with my gel plate and my scribble sticks. Most of these prints came out really well, like I actually surprised myself. However, there was one that was, I don't want to say words like bad or crap or horrible, so we'll just go with it was less than great. And I decided to challenge myself and see if I could make a tag out of it that pleased me. And you know what? I did. So here I am. I've put down some lime green acrylic and I have just a regular old scribble stick. I believe that is from her second set. It's lime green and probably peacock. I tended to stay last night in the same color realm. And you can see the effect that it gives is really pretty. I'm doing ghost prints on most of them, except if they just were like turning out like crap. I was just like, F it, I'll skip it and just start over. So the paper that I'm pulling to clean the plate is actually just copy paper. And you can see we started off strong with that lime green and peacock combination. However, we're not going to stay strong. This was this is actually a really good example of what happens when you play. I first laid down Sedona and now I'm using eggplant in the scribble stick, and I know that Sedona and eggplant are an amazing color combination. Shout out to Megan Quinlan on Instagram who delivered this color combo to the world. Thank you. Bowing down. It's awesome. So I know that it's great, but you can see the eggplant scribble stick, I didn't really get a lot of pigmentation from it, despite leaving it in the water quite a bit. So I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to start over. Now I'm laying down eggplant in the acrylic paint, and there's still some Sedona mixed in there. That's okay. And now I'm going to take the Sedona scribble stick, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now, and I think it's really obvious, the Sedona scribble stick is laying down so much more pigment than the other. So this print is going to wind up being really pretty. Here it is. And notice too that I am pulling prints on a bright white Bristol cardstock that was sent to me by a new friend that I have made. Shout out, Dina, thank you. This paper is amazing and I love it. So the bright white is really kind of showing off the color of the acrylics, if you will, and it made a huge difference over pulling on the regular manila distressed cardstock that I do. If Ranger would release their distress mixed media tags in white, I truly believe that my life would be complete. I have messaged Ranger, and in exchange for them doing this, I have offered all of my best Tupperware and my husband, but my requests have gone unanswered. And for those of you who are concerned about the fact that I was willing to barter my husband away for art supplies, it's totally okay. He's used to it. It happens all the time. And luckily for him, no one has yet taken me up on my offer. So while I was talking, you may have been observing that I forgot about the mechanics of the color wheel and mixed a whole bunch of colors that don't really go together. That's okay, because none of these are going into a museum. They are more than likely going to go in my little pile of things that I pull from, the not okay pile that will eventually become okay. As you can see here, I have corrected that mistake and have decided to do a tone on tone. So I have laid down some turquoise acrylic paint, and that is the color Marine, I believe, in the scribble stick. You know what? Check the description box below for a list of the full supplies. I like the tone on tone look. I had been experimenting with different colors of paint with this, and results were mixed. I think that the scribble stick gives a much better impression. Now I'm taking some of those earlier ones that just the eggplant didn't show through, and I'm adding some layers with the blue, because now remembering how a color wheel actually works, blue and red always look well together. That's probably one of my favorite combinations. That paper that I'm using to clean off the plate is starting to look really nice too, and in my head I'm like, ooh, all of these prints are gonna look amazing in some collage pieces later. Still sticking with that tone on tone, now I'm going in with some carnation and some fuchsia in scribble stick, because I mean, why not? The color looks incredible. Though, looking back on this now, I am kind of wishing that I had added a little bit more fuchsia, because while that is really pretty, it could have been more pretty. Is that more pretty? Oh, wow. Every English teacher in the world just cringed. I'm sorry. I think that if I had added more fuchsia, I could have pulled the color a little bit better and the design would have been more interesting. But it still turned out really well. And all of those clean off prints that I'm getting are looking great. So this is when I decided to kind of go off page a little bit and to, to just briefly experiment. And I do mean briefly. This was a mistake and it kind of shut me down. So I have some turquoise, or no, excuse me, that is peacock, that I have put through a stencil. And this is not a scribble stick. This is a Jane Davenport watercolor thing. I can't remember the exact name. But I was like, it's like a scribble stick. Let's see if it works just as well. And you will see that it does not. That did not work at all like how I was going to thought, or how I thought that it was going to work. The color in those Jane Davenports typically works really nice on direct paper, but not with what I was doing. So I went back to my original Dina, and now I am just trying to kind of wrap all of these little prints up and figure out what my next move is going to be. And it's going to be cheddar and peacock, because again, that is that's the dual and the power combo, peacock, fuchsia, and cheddar. I think I've mentioned that before. So this was not an accident. Let me own this. I had sent some gel prints to a friend in some Happy Mail, and I discovered this when I was making them for her, and I wanted to try to replicate it as much as possible. This color combination looks phenomenal, and I don't think that you could get this way unless you used the peacock scribble stick, because the way that it blends with the water is just incredible. I love it. If that was lotion, I would rub it all over my body. So now I have 3 tags that the prints were just not great. They were the ones that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And I'm going to try to fix them. I'm using a Stencil Girl stencil that I just recently got, and I absolutely love this stencil. I don't love all of it, but this one little part that you'll see me use quite a bit, I love. And if I was braver, I would just go ahead and cut that off, but that stencil was expensive, and I don't want to cut it just yet. Eventually I'll get there. So I'm trying to create a little bit of texture, and I figured that this abstract stencil is the best way to put it. This one, however, is giving me a run for my money. I'm not exactly sure what to do, because the Jane Davenport watercolor thing doesn't really match any of the colors in the Dina Wakley set. Fuchsia was the closest one, and I want to cover up most of it, so I'm using a different part of the stencil that, I don't know, it's okay. It's just a little too busy for me. I like the other part better, but I want to cover pretty much everything on that tag. I don't think I laid enough. I don't know, maybe the fuchsia wasn't opaque enough. Maybe that's what the problem was. I don't know, but you know what? It did its purpose. It covered up most of it. So now there's a little bit more cohesiveness to that tag. So this other tag that we're going to fix, it was mostly just cheddar. I used it to clean off one of the crap prints. And I'm using that part of the stencil that I really like again. And I've put down, I believe that is peacock, again, over the cheddar. Love it. Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to just do a whole bunch of tags like that. Maybe I'll just randomly send them to people. Be like, hey, here's a random tag that you don't know what to do with, and I have not given any directions for. Okay, so we're back to that one tag that it has become the bane of my gel printing existence right now. I'm just not crazy about it. So I'm going to do something really brave, and I only did this. I used black acrylic paint through that stencil, because my friend who sent me these white Bristol tags sent me a picture where she did this. She had a print that she didn't like, and she used black through it. And she was brave, and she inspired me to be brave too. And it worked. I was able to salvage that tag. So here are the prints that we pulled. That was not great. We'll get rid of that. And the rest of them I think turned out really well. If you'll notice, a lot of them have a little white strip down the side, and that was so I could leave some white space on the tag, because that Bristol paper was just such a nice bright white. And here, Here are the ones that I just absolutely love. Not that one in the middle, but that's okay. We're going to fix it. But the other two are fantastic. And this is how I decided to challenge myself and see if I could still do something with this tag. I don't normally work with black, but I think the black worked with this tag. I have some little collage elements that I pulled out of my trusty stash, and I am going with circles. So when I'm trying to conceptualize my focal point, I'm sticking with the circle theme, and since that guy has a circle around his head, I can still technically use circles and it doesn't distract from the focal point. I have gotten all of those glued down. I spared you that. You're welcome. And now I'm just taking my little paper distresser and I'm trying to distress the edges, because what I want to do is pull up some of the white. There's no white space in this, and I think that's probably why I really struggled trying to put this together. I cut out about 15 minutes of all that struggle, so you didn't have to see that. I'm hoping that that little touch of white on the edge kind of pulls it all together. And because I'm being super risky crafting, you guys, I'm not going to cut the sentiment. I'm going to leave it hanging off the edge. What? I know, I never do that, but I think it goes with the look of the tag. Alright guys, that's our video for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.